Hey, this is Dr. Kid again. Listen, I can't believe it's the 25th day of March. That thing came in, that bad boy came in. It feels like it's just a couple of days ago, but listen, man, things are traveling fast in this fast season of time that we're living in here, but the shakeup is still going at a good pace. You can catch it live, you can catch it all over the place. But the shakeup, what we do is on the shakeup, we don't change the structure of things. We just give you an opportunity, or you with us, to reframe some things, put a new picture in take a picture out of an old frame, excuse me, and put it in a new frame. It looks different. So we're kind of get you to reframe your mind, your thoughts about the way you see things, especially in terms of how you relate to yourself and how you relate to people, significant others, and others in your extended family region. Okay, so that's kind of stuff we're doing. So we got some new things every time for you. Listen, I got a couple of things I want to tell you here before we jump right into it. On April the 20th, which is not too far from now, my wife and I, a beautiful lady beside me there, man, I don't know how she stays with me all this time, but hey, listen, I'm not complaining. We will be going to the big Houston, Texas. We'll be doing a relationship conference there. She and I will be talking about things that make relationships pop, things that make relationship burst, and things that make relationship get deflated like a balloon. So you can just scan that QR code. You can jump right in there with us. You can see us acting wild and live and crazy. Well, me, I don't know about my wife. She's not crazy like me. But anyhow, just scan the QR code, Relationship Brunch in Houston, Texas. And that is going to be on April the 20th. Okay, so jump right in there with us. We're looking forward to seeing you. Listen, and something else we're doing that's kind of different tonight. We are streaming live, okay, on Instagram. I'm trying to pull in our Instagram people, or those who watch on Instagram. Want to pull them in. It's live. We're trying this for the first time, so I'm sure there'll be some bugs inside there that we'll need to kind of work on, get some wrinkles out. You know how it is. Got wrinkles in your shirt, put an iron on it. That's what we do. And all those things take time and interest in getting the wrinkles out of things, So we're just trying to pull them in to kind of broaden our territory as much as possible. Well, enough said. I'm just so happy that you're here with us. I'm happy every week to know that we have an audience out there that's with us, and we are thankful. We're thankful, So we just want you to like, share, and subscribe to what we do, so that you can be our eyes and our ears and our legs and everything else out there, just making sure that we are a viable source of good biopsychosocial, intellectual, spiritual, and financial information for you. And if you would like to be a part of this show, we are just asking you to email Dr. Kid Speaks at gmail.com. Dr. Kid Speaks at gmail.com. And my team will get with you. We'll get you right on the air with us. Now, you can be in front of the camera, or you can be off camera. Hey, listen, I'm thinking that I would rather have you on camera, but hey, we'll take you anyhow we get you, okay? All right, Dr. Kid Speaks at gmail.com. Enough said. We want to get right into this. I'm going to bring my guest in tonight, Mr. Q. It's you again? Oh,
yes,
man.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. I wish they had told me it was out there. I would have given you all of that. That's how I knew it was going to be you. Man, I would have pulled out.
I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate the love.
Listen, man. Listen, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Q is a returning man. He did such an amazing job the last time. And I tell you, he's up several notches this time. Several notches, man. This brother is doing it. And you need to hear from him what he is doing. So Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry I did not give you a fanfare to welcome you, but welcome anyhow. Mr. Q, you got it. What you want to talk to us about tonight, man?
Much love, Dr. Kit.
All right, man.
The main thing I really want to focus on today was this question comes up a lot in relationships.
Yeah.
Does financial planning in a relationship equal a better relationship as far as the flow, that communication, things of that nature? When we look at couples today in our society, we're really looking at people from different walks of life and stuff and so on, right? But one quick statistics I want to throw out before I just start to kind of dive deep in. According to a 2024 study back in February from Fidelity Investments, biannual, they did a study on money and couples, and they surveyed 1,794 couples. Wow. So that's 3,588 individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Out of this, they said 9 out of 10 couples say that they communicate well. Okay. Now this is the kicker. All right. But more than 45% admitted privately that they argue with their significant other about finances at least on one occasion.
Hey.
And 1 in 4 pointed out that money is the greatest challenge in their relationship. And so, look, today we're going to just dive a little bit deeper in on not just that statistic, but why does it seem that money seems to be a problem when
money? Let me write it down.
Come on now.
Money.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And so check this out. Like I've sit down with hundreds of relationships, and what I do every day, I help people for a living. I do financial planning. We go through the process of doing protection, accumulation, and distribution. When I'm sitting down with these people,
excuse me a second. Can you just expand on that just a little bit? That you kind of went by that fast. Can you say, "Hey, this is what this really means," or are you going to say it later on, or you want to say it now?
No. I can expound on it now. Absolutely.
Okay, go right ahead, man.
So when I sit down and I talk about like the protection phase of finances, that's saying, God forbid, if something took place and you or your significant other or you individually, if something took place and you walked out that door and you didn't come back home,
right?
What is going to happen after that moment passes from a financial perspective? Okay. Are you leaving your family better off, or will they experience a financial burden? Have you planned for that? So protection is just simply being proactive and making sure that you have certain financial benefits in place, like life insurance, for example, to continue that legacy on. And it's actually one of the greatest ways in America to create what we talk about generational wealth, is by leaving things like that in place. The second phase that we focus on and what I do is accumulation phase. How do you make sure that you're making money while you're alive? Most people have a 9 to 5. Some people have passive income and things of that nature. So how do you continue that to carry on? How do you make sure that you continue to make more and more money? And then the third phase is the distribution phase. How do you ensure that you do not run out of money in retirement? Which is very, very, it gets deep, and it's very important, because a lot of times we're focused so much on the here and now that we fail to plan for the future. Okay. And so we got protection, being proactive. If something happens, what's the future for me or my family look like, individually? That's the protection phase. Accumulation. How am I making money while I'm still alive? And then distribution. How do I make sure that I don't run out of money in retirement? It's a famous quote and statistic for you guys. Most people, I got a question for you, and do most people fall when they climb up Mount Everest, or do they fall on the way down? It's on the way down. It's on the way down. That's where most deaths occur,
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, like from a financial perspective, and you think about it, you may be doing good or think you're doing good while you're here and while you're living, while you're working this 9 to 5, while you're trying to generate all this income. You might have some good saving habits, you might have some bad, but if you fail to plan for after you can no longer work, we've kind of done ourselves a disservice, And so just to kind of get a little bit more in depth with that, when I sit down with couples and we're going through all of these different things, assets, liabilities, budget, we're doing these financial needs analysis and things of that nature, we usually identify one person is usually, and every now and then you have some people on the same page, but one person is usually like the saver. Sometimes you have, and you laugh because I'm laughing because it's like, it's not to say that you can't have two savers, but
Right.
a lot of times you're going to have a saver, then you're going to have somebody that want to spend their money,
Oh.
and I think somebody just put in the
I
comments.
won't tell you who it is in my family, okay? I don't want to mess with that.
And I'm not gonna say who it is in my family either. but I do feel like this, my brother. I do feel like when you actually sit down and you put it on paper, and we're talking about relationships now. We're talking about hey, does being on the same page financially actually help your relationship? It seems so practical, but you'd be surprised at how many people's relationship falls over just simply not being on the same page. Whether that's one person doesn't know the money that's coming into the household, or whether the other spouse doesn't know the money that's going out of the household.
Mm-hmm.
And so this little practical concept, something I would like to encourage people to do, and just say, hey, look, on a monthly basis, even if you can do this one time a month, sit down with your spouse and say, hey, baby, can we plan a budget for next month? I don't care if you're making $3,000 a month or if you're making $10,000 a month. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So when you do that, there's power in that. And I'm going to tell you why. Nobody's shocked and nobody's caught off guard from the standpoint of, oh, hey, why did this bill come back? Why they saying we ain't paid this? I thought you took care of that. Oh, my bad. I decided to go out and buy some shoes. Whoa. Or hey, I thought that we had this much money left in our account. Well, if you're on the same page, you can kind of be proactive and prevent that. The other thing that I want to focus on, is I'm going to hit you guys with another fact real quick. They say money is widely known as one of the leading causes of divorce in America. It's estimated that financial problems contribute to 20 to 40% of divorces. Now, first, we were just simply talking about communication. When you talk about divorce and you talk about finances and money, I have to get a little bit deeper and ask, why do you feel that a lot of things people may look at money as taboo? Like when I say that, and what I mean by that, like, oh no, you can't speak about, hey baby, how much money you make. You'd be surprised how many times I sit down with people and they don't know how much money their spouse makes or brings home. And so, and you nod your head, you feel where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a shocker to me, but what I just try to help people with is say, hey, look, I don't care whether you got $1,800 in the bank account or $500 in the bank account, 18,000, 8 million, whatever. I read this book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and T. Harv Eker says, hey, you need to manage the money that you have, and if you just start with doing that and being more cognizant of it, tracking, hey, look, if we got this bill going out on this day, how can I make sure that I have enough money in the account if I'm trusting you to take care of this bill? But if not, that's the conversation we need to have. We need to sit down and really lay out what's the expectation of the other person in the relationship. Doc, what do you think about that? Tell me your thoughts on that. Does that make it says practical, but you'll be surprised how many people actually struggle with this. Go ahead.
Struggle. Of course, in the work that I do, money is one of the things that comes. It services every time, just about every time. Money. It just comes up.
Absolutely.
But listen, I tell you, one of the big things that really, that I deal with, and I'm working with couples and families and so on and so forth, is this whole idea of your money and my money. I do what I want with my money, and you do what you want to do with your money. And because we don't have any our money, and we are living in our house with our children, eating our food, you understand what I'm saying here? Paying our bills to sustain our home, our environment, but yet we are talking about this, my money, This your money. Don't tell me what to do with my money. I will take care. I will take care of. I will take. Listen. You know, it comes down to something like this. You know, I will pay the mortgage, and you take care of everything else. One day, somebody told me this. It's not something. Somebody said, "Listen, I paid the mortgage, but my spouse didn't pay the bills, and they cut the lights and the water off. Now you're living in a house paid for, but you ain't got no utilities." That's what happens sometimes when you talk about your money and my money and not enough of our money.
That's exactly what happens. I'm gonna piggyback on that. It's kind of like I mentioned earlier, right? So like when you look at that and you say, hey, look, this simple concept that seems like it should be a practicality, so to speak. You have different types of people. Now disclosure, you know, excuse me, disclaimer, excuse me. I'm not telling anybody how to run their household, but all I have is some advice that's based off of experience from sitting down with over hundreds of couples. Okay. And this is all I'm simply saying. You have people that when they get married, they go into it with their own accounts. The husband has his account, the wife has her account. They get married. Hey, your money, my money's my money. Kind of like you said, right? Kind of like you said. Yeah. Then you have the second couple of people where when they get married, hey, we can put our money together into a joint account, and we can pay all of our bills from that, any expenses and stuff we have from that. And then you have the third set of people that say, hey, look, yeah, my money is my money, even though we're married, and your money is your money. And in addition to that, let's have an account that we contribute to together. And this is just a couple of little bit of nuggets that is going to help somebody. Because you would be surprised. I don't care if you're putting away $50 a week into a joint account together. You know, when that unexpected expense arises, it's going to help somebody down the road. But the problem is, Dr. Kit, we plan to even put away anything sometimes because a lot of us don't even have a sense of budgeting. A lot of us don't even have a sense of saving. A lot of us don't even have a sense of where our money's going. Our check could be $3,000 and we could look up 2 weeks later and we got about $58 left because we don't have a sense of, okay, and I'm not saying you got a penny pinch and kind of allocate and know where each dollar is spent, but if you do, it would be a very good thing if you could at least account for a portion. So this is what I like to encourage people to do. When you get paid, you know, I don't know if people believe in paying tithes often or not, but even if you don't, take 10% of your check away and then put it up for a rainy day fund. If you got enough after that, take another 10% and put it up as a blow account fund. What do I mean by that? And these are just principles that I learned from T. Harv Eker and Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. This gives you two different things. It's doing two different things for you. The first thing that it's doing is simply saying, hey, look, not only when that unexpected need arises, 8 months down the road, I've got it covered. I'm not stressing. It's lowering your stress level. The second thing that it's doing with the blow account, that's money that you're allocating 10% every time you get paid to just blow at the end of the month on whatever you want to blow it on. If you want to go and do a spa date, you go and do a spa date. If you want to go and spend $60 on the finest steak in Huntsville, Alabama, or Atlanta, Georgia, wherever you at, you go and spend that money. But you have to do this. And why? I'm going to tell you why. It's liberating because that way you don't just feel like you're putting money away, you're paying bills, and you're not rewarding yourself for your hard work and your efforts that you're putting in from a day-to-day, the 9 to 5, the grind. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Listen, man. You're telling the truth. Listen, those of you who are just coming on, I got my buddy, Mr. Q, back, man.
Yes, sir.
This man is a champion on how to save money and the relationship between money and relationship. So, you know, just tell some of your friends to just, you know, join us here. There he is, financial service professional. That's what it's saying about it. Man, I don't even know what that means, but I got you on the show. Maybe by the end of this, I'll know what it means. But listen, let me tell you this. You're really talking about money and the impact on relationship. There is this merger, but there is one thing that I discovered in my work is that when people talk about your money, and they don't say your money and my money, but not about our money. There is this little word.
Come on now.
It's called TRUST. Trust. in the relationship, the weaker the trust in the relationship is, the weaker the the opportunity will be taken to create a usness in the relationship. Okay, because for them, money is that tangible piece of the relationship that they can depend on. If I can't trust my spouse to be there, but I can trust my money, I'm gonna put my money in my pocket every time. But what happens if I got my money in my pocket, but I can't get to it because I'm too sick? That's when I'm going to need my spouse. That's when the relationship becomes so very clearly a necessity in saying, listen, you could listen. I can call it, yo, dollar bill, I just broke my teeth. Dollar bill just sitting there looking at me. Baby, I just broke. Oh, let me call 911. You see the difference here?
Let's speak on that. Let's speak on that. You just said something deep, my brother. See, we finna go in today. We finna go in today, my brother.
Go on, man.
When you speak on trust and we talk about finances,
yeah,
man, it all starts. Now, I don't know if I said this earlier or not. For one, if you don't have trust as the foundation of your relationship, you really don't have anything, in my opinion. Because guess what? And I'm going to tell you something. If you really love somebody, you do trust them. Now, I'll tell you something. What happens is this. A lot of the times we have expectations and we think that certain things are going to get done. And I know sometimes we drop the ball as humans. I get that. But what I would recommend, this is just me and my opinion, when it comes to making sure that something gets done financially, if a person may have dropped the ball 1 or 2 times, and you, like you said, you're paying the mortgage, well, not you, but you know what I'm saying, in examples, this person's paying the mortgage, and then this person is paying, I don't know, the electric bill. Let's say that they miss paying the bill or the money's gone. We might need to redesignate that person that's in charge of paying the electric bill. And it's not that I don't trust you. Let me be clear. It's just that I want to make sure that this thing is taken care of. So I'm going to take responsibility and accountability and making sure both of us are good.
Yes, absolutely. I just roasted because I got too much gray hairs. Mine might forget. so I want to comment on this, and then I'll just let you go again.
No, you're good. You're good.
If you said talking about dropping the ball, right? If we carry the ball, there is a likelihood that the ball won't be dropped because both of us are taking full responsibility, holding the ball, whatever the ball looks like, in our hands. Okay, we're holding this thing. Okay, and so it's a very, trust requires some kind of support. So if I have this trust relationship with my wife, if I know her financial health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health, if I know that, I know where to jump in without even asking. I can just look at her and say, hey, listen, okay, you need to, okay, I'm gonna be ready for it. So that's something. If we carry the ball together, talk about money and relationship, then we won't drop the, if we see everything, all of our assets as this ball, and we carry it together, then there is no yo money, my money. Go ahead.
I agree 110%, and it kind of goes back to what we mentioned earlier, right? Because I'm with you, when you get married, and this because this is your expertise, Dr. Kid. When a person gets married and they come together as one, you're no longer individual. You're connected. And so if you're connected, then you would think that you should be on the same page moving forward.
You would think.
You would think. But what happens is, a lot of times, people have never been shown how to love someone else. They've never been, they may think that they have love for a person, and they may genuinely love the other person, but they might not know what that looks like.
Right.
They might not even know what really trusting somebody else with their financial well-being looks like.
You're saying something now. Go ahead.
So many times it takes us looking at a situation to take place with a family member or a loved one, and an event happens that leaves and turns their world upside down, that makes us look at our own situation and then say, oh, wow, I don't want to be in that situation that my family member just experienced. And so I'm going to speak on a little bit about what I do and how it ties into what you just said, right?
Okay. hold it. Is this a, S 6524? I love that joint concept.
Praise God.
If I or my wife stumbles, the other one is there to have the other's back.
Amen.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. Yes.
Praise God.
Yes,
and
yes.
that's how it should be, with the comment. And
here's another one. Does marrying a person include marrying their debt? Listen, you do it. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna
You know what? You know what, Miss Tracy? I would say absolutely 110%. And if a person, and this is why, going back, this finna get deep in here. I love this thing. Miss Tracy, we're gonna answer this before I veer off too far. When you think about marrying someone, you're saying, I'm accepting you and everything that comes with you.
I love that word, accept. Go on.
Yes, I'm accepting you and everything that comes with you. So guess what? If this person over here has $90,000 in student loans and I only got $3,000 before mine is paid off, guess what? I just inherited $90,000 of student loans because this is my baby. This is my wife. This is my better half now. And so now her debt is my debt. Now, granted, these are just examples. Okay. Now I'm with you. And so going back to what we initially were talking about, the trust concept. Sometimes we don't, how can I put it? Sometimes we don't even know what that looks like. Some of us have grown up where we didn't have a two-parent household, or some of us have been burned, We think, oh man, I had a bad experience. How can I depend on you to get this taken care of? Not that I don't love you, not that I don't want to trust you, but I've had an experience with that in the past. And so if I have, I'm going to act accordingly. So bringing it back full circle now. Some of us make decisions based off of the events that have taken in other people's lives, like our loved ones or family members. Tying it back to what I do. So many times, one thing, oh man, this is going to get deep. Dr. Kidd, don't you know so many times you could be doing very well. Your spouse could be doing very well. You may have a situation that another person's family member has that it affects you. Why? Let's say a person gets mother gets sick or something like that, right? They have a condition now. Guess what? They have to move into the house with you. Oh, pause. So this couple is thriving, but now you have to take care of a sick parent. Right. So guess what? The finances were once at an all-time high. Oh yeah, we saving up money. Yeah, we got 20, 30,000. Oh yeah, we're doing good, 50,000. And now you just had to stop what you're doing and pour your resources that you have into your spouse's family member. Why? Because you love them. So going back to what Miss Tracy said, I'm not only marrying their debt, I'm marrying everything that comes with that person. Period. That's the good, the bad, the ugly. And so, which ties us into our next point. When that happens, indirectly, you get affected by it. You know why? Let's say that family member didn't have long-term care. Who's paying this person's medical bills now? They're disabled. They can't work. So you see that savings start to dwindle down. You start to see it go down little by little. And the more that you're taking care of them, it becomes a burden on the couple, unfortunately, which could tie into creating other issues and goes back to finances and relationships, And I'm going to just pause there for a minute. And which is why having something like long-term care is important. And just for people that don't know what that consists of, if you're not able to do 2 of the 6 daily living habits, then that would consist of you needing long-term care. And the best time to get something like that is while you're young. If you can't, and this is why I say that. A lot of people may feel like this. A lot of people feel like, man, I don't need that. I'm healthy right now. And we never take into account that just because you're healthy right now, that don't mean that you're always going to be healthy. Right. And this thing is a real thing. I'm laughing, but I'm so serious because I meet so many people that they feel like, oh man, I wish I would have. Or I might reach out to an individual. Hey man, do you have XYZ taken care of? Yeah, man, I'm good. Well, I got it at work. Well, I should be straight. And then months down the road, an event takes place. They lose their job or their financial situation changes. And now they come back and they're like, hey, I need help with that. And I'm there. But sometimes it's too late because you're not in the same state of health that you once were, you know? And so this is what I like to do. This is what I like to do. You know, whoever I'm sitting down with, I like to assess the situation. Oh man, thank you, God. He just gave me this. I like to not only assess the situation, but I like to make it simple and plain. Why I'm recommending anything for the person I'm sitting down on is based off of their current experience and their goals that's in the future. So many times I sit down with people and they're like, hey, I just need this. I'm like, okay, how do you know you just need that? And they'll be like, well, my cousin has it. Oh, my sister has it. My mama just said I need this. I'm like, okay. And your mom might be a nurse. She's not in finances, you know. Your mom, if something happened to your mom is single. You're married with 3 kids. You don't need $50,000 of coverage to leave your family if something happens. You need your income replaced for those 3 kids you got. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're talking about, man. And so bringing this thing back full circle now. Finances impact relationships greatly. And I feel like, for starters, if I didn't say this earlier, if you don't have, true enough, it should be a joint effort. But if you don't have someone to lead and say, hey, look, I'm going to make sure that my better half is good no matter what, whether I'm here or not, then we headed down the wrong path. That creates so many other issues. Because if I really want to be, if I really love you and I really want to make sure that you're good, I want to make sure that you're good even if I'm no longer here. That's how I look at it. You know, it's not just about me anymore. You know, for example, I don't even have kids yet, but guess what I've done, Dr. Kit? I've planned for when I do have kids. You know, the kids that having the little cues that are going to be right.
Listen, man. Whoa. Wait. Let me get you. How many little cues you gonna have, man? Come on, man.
Just two. You know.
Okay. Hey, y'all! I got an army of cues.
You know, but that was funny. But seriously, you know, like it's one of those things that sometimes we just don't have a sense of planning. And that's really what it goes back to, man. You know, I wish that more people would be proactive or be open-minded and not have to only feel like it's a sense of urgency when they see someone else go through a bad situation. You know, it's a lot of people that have that awareness from the standpoint of, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z so I don't have to experience this. Some people, they just going with the wind and they just don't know. You know, and so let
me just jump in here for a second. I think I was in my 20s when somebody dropped this piece of amazing nugget on me that I really never thought about. 2 things. I'm going to tell you what both of them are.
Talk to me.
The first one was, the person said to me, the time to plan for retirement is when you get your first check. And I thought about it, saying, nobody told me that. Why? Because at 15, 16, 18, 22, whenever it is, you get your first check, man. You're so busy, man. You're young, man. Your blood is boiling inside you, man. Listen, man. I'm looking at my grandparents down there. They're in the 70s to the 80s, man. I got a long way to go. I'm talking about retirement now. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
No, I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a hard concept, I'm thinking, for young people. But you're right. That is the time you're planning for your unborn kids.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You are saying, I love the extension of me outside of me. I got a plan for them. The other piece of that somebody dropped on me, then I'm leave it alone for you. Listen, he said, if you don't want to be broke, spend less than you make. I said,
right. And that seems so practical, right?
Yeah.
It seems so practical. And going back to what you said a little while ago, you know, if you start, man, I don't care if you're making $25,000 a year or you're making $250,000 a year. I'm a big believer in you have to manage the money that you have, or else it will manage you. Yeah. We have to stop acting like finances isn't important and just living out here willy-nilly, for lack of a better word, right? And so when you talk about like planning, that looks so different for different situations. And what I mean by that is, if I'm sitting down with a person that, let's say they just graduated and they're going into the medical field, they're not married, they're single, their needs are going to be a lot different from this person that's 43 years old and just got married. You know, when you talk about retirement plan, oh, let's focus on that, because I was finna go somewhere with that, but I want to finish this first. Accumulation, not just putting away money every time you get paid. What are you doing on your jobs? You know, are you contributing to a 401k? Great. If not, look into something that's going to grow tax deferred and take it out tax free. There are different vehicles out there that do that. You know, you have different things. Some people use life insurance to do that, to plan for their kids' college. This is a real thing. Some people don't even know how to do that or what that looks like. That's what we help people with. We educate them on, hey, what does that mean? What does that mean? Gross tax deferred, take it out tax free. When you take it out, you don't have to pay tax on that. Uncle Sam's already taking the money out on that. You know, you have different accounts. You have Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, and things of that nature. Okay. Now, going back to this couples thing, because that's really kind of what I want to go in on a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you identify who is going to take care of the bills, and you have the savings account in place, and then you have the blow money account in place. I'm just speaking from my experience. This is just Q speaking from what he has undergone. It makes life easier. You want to have less stress? Have a hard conversation with your spouse. Have a hard conversation with your better half about expectations. What do you expect from that other person? What do they expect from you? And when we talk about trust and communication, the first thing that I think about is, in communicating, it isn't talking, it's listening. Not listening to respond, but listening to understand. Hey, if you want to go on this trip, well, guess what? We're going to need money for it. You know, this trip ain't going to pay for itself. So guess what? Instead of us maybe budgeting, I don't know, $100 a week, maybe we need to put up to $200. Sometimes that takes sacrifice. Sometimes that doesn't take just continuing to live that same lifestyle that you're used to living. And that's another thing, Dr. Kid. You know, we look at the goals that we want to accomplish sometimes, but we're not willing to make the sacrifice on them. You might have to stop eating out 3 or 4 times a week if you want to go on that vacation. You know, you might.
The cheese sandwich is looking real good right about now.
You might not be You might not be able to get those extra 3 suits that you're accustomed to buying every month, and you might not be able to buy those 3 or 4 dresses that you're accustomed to getting every other week. If you really want to achieve those goals. And that's why I said, when I sit down with people, I just want to make it practical, you know. But the blessing is, and what brings me so much joy is, once you sit down and you put that plan on paper and you say, hey, look, this is what I want to do. This is what it's going to take to do it. We've gotten away from that. We look at social media now, Dr. Kid, and we just think stuff just magically happened. No, you got to have a plan. You got to implement it. Create the plan, go over it, execute it efficiently. And then guess what? I guarantee you'll have that added peace of mind for so many different reasons. Go ahead. You should say something.
You know, I think, you know, we're talking about finances and relationships. And, you know, we talked a lot, man. You dropped a lot of really good nuggets on us, you know, and I really appreciate that.
Praise God.
But it's something else I want you to kind of address here for, and that is, when you know your spouse, and we trust our spouse, we talk about trust, right?
Yes.
If I know that my wife, is a better financial manager than I am, and even if I'm making more money than she is, or even if she's not working, but you said it, you know, you marry the whole person.
Yes.
If she has the capacity and the ability to manage the money, does it make sense then for me to say, look, baby, you manage that. You manage that. And part of the reason I'm saying this, I say this real quick.
Yeah.
If I don't trust my wife,
Mm.
and the whole world's going to hear what I'm saying now,
Mm.
I would not sleep in a house with my wife if I didn't trust her. Why? Because when I'm sleeping, she's up, and I don't know what she's going to do to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
Trust her. And if I trust her with my life, sure enough, I can trust her with my money.
Come on now, Dr. Kit. Come on now, man. You just said something there, man. And see, that's the problem a lot of the times, right? We say that we trust someone, but how much do we really trust them? And let's go a little bit further. Let's go deeper.
Okay.
Sometime when you were talking a while ago, you know what I thought about when you said, hey, look, if I trust my wife and let's say I make more money, but I know she's a better money manager than me. Right. Why don't I let her manage the books? You know why? Because of ego. So many times, I mean, we're speaking to him now. So many times we think that I'm the man of the house. It's gonna be XYZ. Some people think like this. Now, I'm not speaking about me. It's gonna be XYZ. What I say goes. And you can have that mindset if you want to and live in disbelief, but you're gonna be running yourself into an early pile of debt. You know, if you let your ego to the side and you look at this from there goes that word again, a practical standpoint. If at the end of every paycheck, let's say your spouse makes $40,000 and you make $300,000, but when you finish getting paid a week and a half later, all of your check is gone and she still has 60% of her income, maybe you need to reevaluate what you got going on.
Yeah.
You know, now let's even scale it back. Even if you're not making 300K, if you're making 80 and your check is gone, you're like, hey, I don't know where all my money's going. Oh, but you buying all of these new shoes and all of these new suits and you're eating out every night of the week, but yet she has more money in the bank account than you. It won't hurt to say, hey, baby, what you do when you get paid? We got to put ourselves to the side sometime, man. And vice versa. I feel like when it comes to the women sometimes, right? I sit there, I'm telling you, I sit down with so many different people. Sometimes the man, he controls the money. Sometimes the woman, she controls the money. But the couples that I love sitting down with are really, I love sitting down with everybody, let's be real. But what I'm saying is the people that I really enjoy helping is the couples that's on the same page. That I go over the information with them. I look at the assets that they have, the liabilities that they have, the budget, all of these expenses and stuff that are going out, all the things that they have, the different ventures and stuff that they're making money for them. And then they say, and I come up with the solution. I say, hey, look, you need this based off of this. And then they say, all right, Q, we're going to schedule a follow-up. We're going to look at what you did and recommend it. And we're going to come back and we'll get back with you on this date. When we meet back, and they say, hey, look, we think this would be the best option. Based off of X, Y, Z, they don't realize they've let me know so much about them without even saying anything else about our previous conversation. It lets me know that they've come together and they came to a decision based off of not what was best for Sue, not what was best for John, but what's best for Sue and John and this family that we now have. You know, because it's no longer about just me. It's about you too. Oh, and it's about these three little Sue and Johns running around here. You know, you know, and so getting back, we be having too much fun, man. And so getting back to it, if we could put our ego to the side, it looks like somebody just put something in the text there. I think they can't see the top half of you, Dr. Kit.
Yeah, I know. I just read it.
Okay. But I was going to say, going back to what we was talking about a little while ago, man, that trust is such a powerful thing. You know, some people, they have to learn to grow into trust together. You know, they don't know. Oh, man. Go ahead. Would you say something?
I was about to say, part of the problem with trust is that we're so busy trying to get other people to trust us, when trust really begins with, do I trust myself?
Woo! Woo! Come on now.
If I don't trust me, I
Mm.
will not know how to allow myself, and that's a cool word, allow myself to trust other people. Because why? Because I have to become vulnerable. I don't want that.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
Go on.
You know what? And it's so fun. It's so funny you say that, because a lot of times that vulnerability is exactly what people need in order to take their relationship to the next level and the next level and the next level. So many times we feel like, even in a relationship, at some points, we may feel like we might be prejudged if we show certain parts of ourselves and our habits, spending habits, you know, not just spending habits, regular routines and stuff. We feel like we're going to be prejudged. So guess what? Going back to what you said, if I can't trust myself, and if you really think about it, it kind of creates a flawed sense of judgment for the other person. Oh man, let me speak on that. Because think about it. I'm basing what you could potentially do for me off of what I'm willing to do for myself.
Oh.
Let me speak on that. Let me make it plain. Let me make it plain. If I know that I need to do X, Y, and Z to guarantee that we're going to have a better life, right? I know this, but I dropped the ball. I don't do it. Why would I trust you when you may have done X, Y, Z? You may not ever drop the ball, but why would I trust you? Because I'm basing it off of something that's not factual. I'm basing it off of my experiences with me. I can only go off of what I'm used to. And that's how we end up missing out on our blessing, you know, believe it or not. Because, excuse me, that's how we end up missing out on our blessing, believe it or not. Because if I just, man, how can I get this analogy? Let's say, hey, baby, I got $100 in my hand. I seen that you turned your $100 that you had week before last, you turned it into $500. If I could just say, can you turn my $100 into $500 like you did yours? Please, for me. And she's willing to do it, but I can't get past myself. I'm like, man, I need this $100. I'm shooting myself in the foot. I don't have the trust that I really thought. And maybe that's on me. Maybe that was my upbringing. Maybe I've just been scarred so many times. You know, it's layers to that, in my opinion. But we got to move forward with it. All right. So I say all that to say this. One, when I talked about protection, accumulation, and distribution, we talked about how we help families. We talked about trust. We talked about relationships. We talked about finances. We talked about all of this good stuff. If it's anything that I could leave someone with, is, I don't care if you never planned in your life, if you never sat down and wrote out a budget in your life, I want to encourage you to just put down on paper where your money is going. It will blow your mind once you look at it, and then you're more mindful of it. It will allow you and enable you, to start saving more. That's only going to give you an added peace of mind down the road to accomplish those goals that y'all have. You know, if you have benefits at work, get something outside as well. Why do I say that, Dr. Kit? Why do I say that? Because so many times our life changes and we base it off of our employer. But when the job goes out the door, guess what? Now you don't have anything to leave your family. You know, all of that, those benefits that were tied to the employer are now no longer good.
Right.
If you can sit down with somebody, doesn't have to be me. If it's me, great, a financial professional. If you have benefits outside of work, praise God, I would encourage you to do this. Have semi-annual and annual policy reviews off of what you have in place. Why do I say that? Because the older that you get, your needs never stay the same. Your life changes, you know? I did a post earlier today. If last year you bought a house and the last time you looked at the insurance you had in place was 5 years ago, you need to revisit that and assess that. You know, if you just had a kid 2 months ago, your coverage just changed. You know, if you just recently got married year before last and 5 years ago you weren't married, you need to sit down with somebody. Why? Because you don't want to base off coverage off of how your life used to look. You want it to be based off of not only how it looks now, but how you're planning for it to look in the future.
Yeah, man. Oh,
and hey, brother, I mean, how much money should you have in your savings? Tracy Williams back, my people. Tracy, so Tracy, check this out. I love these questions, right?
Yeah,
and I would say this: everybody's situation looks differently. I put out a little nugget earlier on in the show. I'm not sure if Tracy caught it or not, but whatever you get paid, if you could just challenge yourself, put away 10% every time you get paid. Just start with 10. If you can't do 10, start with 5. I don't care which number you start with. If you start doing that, your savings is going to grow over time. You're going to look up and say, oh man, I never thought I could save this much. Because guess what? When you get that check, most people, unless you're 1099, Uncle Sam has already taken his money out of it, correct? Uncle Sam is taking his money out. So why not pay yourself? Why not treat yourself like Uncle Sam? But the difference is you ain't got to get that money back. That's yours once you start saving. You know, it's no set amount of money that you have to have in your savings. I mean, because everybody's lifestyle is different. We could go deeper and base it off of, you know, what does your lifestyle look like? But that I would just start there, to be honest with you. Just try to save 10% every time you get paid. And if you can afford to, that's for the emergency. The other 10% is for the blow account. And what I mean by that, an account that you're going to treat yourself to something nice. Like I mentioned earlier, a spa date. You know, a nice steak, a brand new dress, something that makes you feel good. That way, in the process of you saving, you're not feeling like it's just draining to you. You're not feeling like, man, I'm putting this money up and I'm not getting nothing out of it. Do that. And I guarantee you, man, it'll give you an added peace of mind. Absolutely.
Words of wisdom from a man who has championed the arena in here, you know, talking about the merging of two very important things, money and its impact on relationships, and then relationships and its impact on money. We come from both ends of the continuum here. Absolutely. And Mr. Q, you have said it so much, man. I know you got to go, and I'm watching the time because I know you got to go. I know you got another appointment. So listen, man. Tell us, you know, just drop something on us here as you close it out. Okay, why don't you just do that for us? Okay, because I don't want you to be late for your next appointment.
No, absolutely. So, like, once again, like I said, the biggest thing that I can do to encourage people on here is really just to say, hey, look, if you haven't started saving, it seems simple. Put away 10%. The next thing I would encourage people to do is get with a good financial professional. You know, this is someone that's going to be a fiduciary for you. And all that means is a person that's going to advise based on the finances that you need to have in place, what to do with those finances that's going to put you in a better position. This should be somebody that's trustworthy, that has credibility, that's already helped a lot of people. Do your research, go out there, look, ask around and stuff and things of that nature. And then lastly, I would just encourage people to execute once you put that financial plan in place. You know, if you're married with kids, sit down with somebody. If you're if you're single and you don't have any kids, sit down with somebody. If you're in a relationship, you're thinking about getting married, sit down with somebody, okay? If you just bought a home, sit down with somebody. If you just retired, sit down with somebody. If you just transitioned into another job, sit down with somebody. My contact information is on the screen. That's my direct line. It's got a couple of the things and services that I offer on there. And actually, it's even more than that, you know, as well. But hey, I'm glad I got to be on the show once again and go back and forth with my man, Dr. Kit here. Blessings and much love, brother.
Hey, man, listen, sometimes you and I go back and forth. They might think they're mortal enemies, man, but this is just the way this is just the way we do it, right? Tracy, thanks. Great content as
Thanks,
always.
Tracy.
Thank you so much, Tracy. But listen, man, listen, I tell you this. It was a wonderful family down there.
Hey, big bro, Cantrell on here. Okay, then.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey.
Look at that wonderful couple over there.
Oh, watch out
I
there,
know that
now.
couple from somewhere. Don't mess with that couple now, Mr. Q guy.
Hey, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Listen, man. Listen. You know, if we don't call you, you call us. And I say that with the greatest of respect and love for you, my young man. Listen, don't go away. Let me take a couple of seconds here, man. When I see young men like you doing the kind of selfless work that you do to help the community to become better than we are, it reminds me of our foreparents during the days of slavery. People were willing to die so that other people could live. Wow. And you're willing to sacrifice yourself, however you do, so that our community out there can learn how to better become independent and interdependent on each other. Okay, so that we're all our brother's keepers. So we're bringing everybody along with us. You understand?
Praise God.
I never know when I'm going to need you. You never know when you're going to need me. So the best thing to do is for me to take care of you and encourage you to take care of me. Mr. Q, I love you, man. Thank you so much.
Love you back, brother.
For being on here with me.
Thank you for having me again.
We're going to have you back again. If you don't call us, we'll call you, okay?
Absolutely. Much love, Dr. Kid.
All right, man. All right. Listen, and there you go, folks. There you have it. I just ended up with my young buddy. They say those old gray hairs, they got some stuff to tell to the young folk. But this young man, he took me to school tonight. He took me to school, man. So, I want to hang around guys like Mr. Q all the time. Maybe where I'm saving a dime, I can go up to saving a quarter. It's good. But, putting all joke aside, though, this is a very serious topic between the relationship between finances and the quality of relationship. It's not whether or not you have a relationship. You do have a relationship. The question is, what's the quality like? And what are some of the things that is like aborting, increasing the quality of your relationship? And so you don't start by looking at other people. You start by looking at yourself. So I want to thank Mr. Q. Now, listen, I just want to say this as I close it out. We would love to have you on the show. So just email drkidspeaks@gmail.com. I have a wonderful team, and they are just eager to get you on here so that I can have something to talk about. No, but listen, please, we just want you to come. If you don't say it, it won't be said. If you're in the same business like somebody else, your experience of yourself and experience of your business will be different. We all want to hear it from different sides, from different people. So please consider being a part of the Shake Up with Dr. Kid every Monday at 6 p.m. unless there are something that's happening outside of our control. And the last thing I want to say is I want you to like it, follow it, share it, and subscribe to it. Like it, follow, share, put it out there on the flagpole, wave it in the wind. Dr. Kid Speaks at 6 p.m. every Monday Central Time, okay? So I thank you very much. Much blessings, much love to you, and I will see you. And the last thing I'm going to say, April 20th. See, me and this wonderful woman here, married for over 40 years. We are going to be in the big Houston, Texas, where everything is big. We're going to have a big brunch down there. We're going to have big relationship stuff that we're talking about. We're going to be talking about some really deep stuff. And my wife, you know, she's got some good ideas and that she's not sharing with me yet. She want to surprise me, but that's okay. You know, it all will come out in the wash one way or another. And so thank you so much. Thank you. Be good. Have a wonderful night. Peace to you. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same station, same place, same shakeup, same Dr. Kid. Have a good day. Bye-bye.